Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. This is Move Easy Yoga Online with Via, and it is July 25th, 2020. I'm going to take away the screen share of our hero, our older woman who's very happy moving on the beach, actually, too. And I am going to, everybody mute themselves. I'm going to spotlight Kathy, and we'll start the class in the regular way. Gloria isn't here, but I think she's going to show up because she asked about the class today. Starting on your back. And we're going to start with just noticing, just bring yourself into the room with your attention. Feel the back of feel the floor coming up to meet your back and supporting it. And just watching your breath. Bring your hands behind your back, behind your head, at the occipital ridge, at the base of the skull. Interlace your fingers, create a cup for your skull. And then, without moving anything else, shift your eyeballs to the right. Shift your eyeballs to the right and wait for a swallow, sigh, yawn, or gulp. And then come back to center and shift your eyeballs to the left. And wait for a swallow, yawn, sigh, or gulp. Come back to center and repeat this sequence, the vagus nerve reset sequence, 2 more times, right, left, right, left. And then we're going to do the head ramping, or that's kind of movement. We're going to do it on a sponge ball. So find your sponge ball. Instead of putting your hands behind your back, behind your head, find a sponge ball and put your sponge ball there. And then just press your head, the back of your skull, into the sponge ball. And release. And then repeat 4 or 5 times. Your chin goes down, your chin goes up. But focus on the movement that presses the back or the base of the skull into the sponge ball. When I do this work on the back of my neck, I always get little adjustments along my cervical spine, little cracks. And before we leave, because we can, go ahead and look right, look left. Just slowly allowing the sponge ball to create a lot of safety for this rotation, cervical spine rotation. How you doing, Karen? Can you unmute? I'd love to see I'd love to help you. The next thing I want you guys to do is stay there and just do some Viloma breathing. So your head is on the sponge ball. Maybe Karen doesn't have a sponge ball. Maybe that's the deal. If you don't have a sponge ball, you can roll up a towel as if it were a sponge ball, or you could even put your head on a brick. Especially a smaller brick, I think. Thinner brick. While you're here now, just Viloma breathing. Divide the inhale into 3 segments and pause after each segment. And then after the last or the third inhale, the complete solo exhale. Inhale, pause, inhale, pause. Inhale, pause. By the last inhale, you should be filling up the entire lungs. And then exhale. And also, if you don't have a sponge ball, you could just do this without a sponge ball. You could just do this lying supine on the floor. You can even do this seated. However, supine is a really nice, the best position for Viloma breath. A couple more breaths. We're going to go on to hypopressive. We're going to do the stretched leg, straight leg hypopressive, which is also, this is just a teaser for a wrist movement, because the overhead arms are stacked and there's a wrist stretch going on there. So cross your right foot, ankle over your left. Dorsiflex your toes towards your face. Bring your arms over your chest and stack the left hand on top of the right hand. And notice when you straighten your arms, you've got a wrist stretch in this movement. And if you wanted to, by the way, you could interlace your fingers and feel a wrist stretch there. That might be easier to do as a wrist stretch. From here, 3 breaths and then no breath for 10 counts. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, no breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And inhale, exhale, and switch sides. Left ankle over right ankle. Dorsiflex the feet. I think interlacing the fingers gets you more, and I think you could always do it with an interlaced finger. Get you more of a wrist stretch. 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. The more you straighten your arms, the more wrist stretch you're going to gain for yourself. Inhale. Last exhale, make sure all of the air is out of the lungs. No breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale and exhale. Come up to a floor, your favorite floor-seated position. So you do cross legs. If you, any of the floor-seated positions, you may want to sit on a blanket or a brick. This will actually help you with your posture to raise your hips a little bit above your knees. I'm going to do a Z. I think that's what I'm going to do for mine. Knee Z. And the first thing we're going to do is the same overhead arms with the interlaced fingers. So bring your arms first out in front of you and interlace your fingers, and then up and over, up with the palms up. Try to find height, length, height, and wrist stretch, and stay here and take some breaths. And while you're here, you can actually side bend to the right. Keep your hips on the floor, side bend. The thoracic spine is bending. And then come back to center, side bend left. And remember, the straighter your arms are, the more you can feel a wrist stretch. Come back to center. Shake out your wrists. We'll do this a lot today. Shake out your wrists and switch sides. So if you had the right, we're going to do the exact same thing. Switch sides with your feet and with your hands. So the hands come out, but the hands are the top hand is the opposite hand. Up you go. Straighten your hands. Feel tall. Let the arms help you find a good posture here. Make sure you're sitting on your sits bones and not your tailbone. And then you can side bend to the right or the left. Arms straight as you can, and then come back and side bend right. And come back. Shake your hands, shake your wrists. We're going to do a wrist stretch from a prayer pose. So bring your hands into prayer pose. And then take your right hand and take the fingertips forward and then down, so they're the opposite of the other hand. And now press the palms together, and you should feel a really nice stretch in both wrists. I'm feeling it more on the top one, but I don't know whether that's going to be the case for every one of you. Try to sit tall, please. So no, not to lean. And relax your shoulders and just press your palms together. And breathe. This is a great one to do while you're watching TV or you're in a meeting. Go ahead and come back. Shake your wrists. Your wrists are going to get a workout today. But it's nice to have an ongoing wrist practice, actually, especially if you're working at a computer or knitting or doing anything that requires small motor movement in your hands and wrists. Other side. So this time the left fingertips go forward and down. It's the same thing, but the other wrist is on top. And press. So try to sit tall, relax your shoulders, and then press your palms together. And I hope this feels delicious for you. Take some more breaths, a couple more. And then release slowly and shake your hands. And then we're going to do wrist circles. And the only thing I want you to do that you might not think of doing is hold on. So if you're going to start with your right wrist, hold on to your left, onto your right wrist with your left hand so that you're stabilizing the forearm. You want to make the wrist movement be happening in the wrist, not the forearm. So if you can stabilize and hold on to the forearm and then make your circle, then you're really going to get the work, have the work and the effort and the benefit take place. You can spread your hands while you go. And close them. So this is something you can do anytime you're in a wrist movement. You could, if it's available, open and close your fist. Reverse the circle. Switch sides. Hold on to your left wrist with your right hand. Start to make a circle with your wrist. You can open and close your fingers, your fist, while you're doing this, or not. You can save that for another time if it feels too complicated to do both of those things at once. Don't bother. This is all about fitness and fun. Reverse the circle. And shake your wrists. So that's three that you can do pretty easily from a seated or a standing position, I suppose. We're going to do three more. And the first one is, I call it twisted interlace. So you're going to put your both hands out in front of you and then take the, let's see, how am I going to tell you to do this? Out in front of you with your palms facing away from each other, and then bring the one hand over the other and clasp. Yes. And then pull down and down towards your belly and then up towards your chin. Sit tall and breathe. So you have to start with your hands out in front of you to actually do all of the things that you have to do here. Start there and then come around and forward. This is a great movement for wrists and fingers. Sit tallish. Stay here and breathe. And while we're here, I want to say that I said this announcement before Gloria got here, but Gloria has made a special request for something for next week, and maybe she'll unmute herself and tell us what that is. And we're going to do that. And anytime, go ahead and switch sides, you guys. Come back out of this, switch sides, and then come back in. Anytime you have a special request for a class, do not hesitate to contact me, and I will try to honor your requests. So I think Gloria said she wanted footwork with the balls. I think maybe, and also therapy ball work with the neck. But maybe she can tell us that, and that's what we're going to do on Monday. She contacted me this morning. I said, it's too late. I have a lesson plan on wrists. Just stay here and breathe and enjoy all of the stretching that happens here. And then go ahead and shake it out. Shake it out, and we're going to move right into shaking, wrist shakes, and then we'll go to overhead arms. So just shake, 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 shake here, and then start to move your hands up overhead. So wrist shaking with overhead arms, all the way up to straight arms or almost straight. Shake, 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 and at some point, stop shaking, but keep your arms overhead. And feel all of the energy that created for you. And then just drop your hands to your side, or in my case, my ankles. And now we're going to just do shoulder shrugs. So from your floor-seated position, just lift your shoulders up as high as you can. And then release. And do it again. And so you know, in the world, we'd like you to have good posture and relaxed shoulders. But this movement will actually release the shoulders. So you can just go up as high and tight as you can get them. I'm wiggling my head inside that little lock that I created for myself. It kind of feels good. And then come back down. You can also, let's do one at a time. So right shoulder first. Release, shrug the left shoulder, release, alternating. So one of the advantages of alternating is that you get to notice if you're lopsided or asymmetrical. One is tighter than the other, and actually it usually is. And you get to work on the side that's tighter a little longer because you noticed it, because you were alternating. You don't notice as much when you're not alternating. The next thing we're going to do is go to quadruped. So up onto your hands and feet. And this is just a simple wrist stretch by pointing the, I wonder if I should have you do this alternating. I think alternating. Let's start with the right. palms, fingers facing back toward the knee. And so the first thing you're going to do is keep your hands so you're working just on the fingers. So don't come all the way down with the front of your palm. Stay high and press the top of your shoulders forward. And breathe. I think I'll do this too. Breathe. And then after you've worked with just the fingers by keeping the palm high, then drop the palm and work on the wrists. So this is fingers and wrist. And just stay here. You can lean into it or you can lean back a little bit and you're going to get a different stretch. Take it easy. And then switch to the other side. Fingers towards the knee, fingers on the left. So remember, you're going to keep your palm high first. You can drop your hips back and feel a stretch in the fingers. Ouch. And then come forward a little and drop your palms and feel a stretch in the wrist, and then you can drop your hips back again. That's what creates more, is to drop your hips back. And then come forward. You can come back onto your heels and shake your wrists if you want. And then we're going to do some plank or plank preparation. I'm going to start with the plank preparation and move up to plank. You're in the quadruped position, and I want, if you can't turn your hand all the way, you do the best you can. It might be turned out to the side. Okay, because eventually, maybe, it'll get more range of motion there, right? So that's a good comment, Caitlin's comment. Plank preparation, go ahead and fingers this time are forward. You're going to do one leg at a time, and the preparation is just this. You're going to drag your right foot along the floor out and then bring it back. So, but I want you to find a plankish kind of feeling. So feel like you're holding yourself up on your arms and that leg that goes back. And then return and other side. The toe stays on the floor in this version. And you can stay here. This is preparing for plank. You can stay here. So lift your head a little, Kathy. So it's not that much. There, about there. And do this a couple more times. The next version is to bring your right leg back, the same as you did before. And now lift it up. And then bring it down and bring it forward. And so do that a couple times. And you can stay there in either of those two levels or you can go into an actual plank, which you'd bring your right leg out and then your left leg out and stay here in a plank position. And breathe. And you can come out of that, Kathy. Kathy's much better than she used to. I think she must be practicing at home. A plank is a really great movement, but not until you get there. Otherwise, you'll just fall on your face. But it's great core work, it's good upper body work. It's a whole body movement. Whenever you're finished here, just come into a child's pose. Knees can be wide. This is going to be resting for a minute, then we'll add something. Are wide, they can be wide or narrow. You could put a cushioning or a block under your buttocks, or cushioning under the front of your feet if it's hard for you to be on the front of your feet like that. And just resting. And breathing, and try to feel the release in the lower back. And then go ahead and thread your right arm underneath your left armpit and look in the same direction. Look to the left. In the same direction as the arm that's threaded. You might need something under your head, a little washcloth or something. Brick. Diana can use some of her new bricks. Keep your bottom arm straight if you can. And just stay here and feel the opening that's happening in the shoulder on the right and the left, actually. Bring your left shoulder down towards the floor if you can. And then go ahead and switch sides. And Kathy, if you can switch to the other side of the mat, people can see the back of this position. This is just a nice shoulder stretch. That's easy to do while you're resting your lower back. So she's threaded her bottom arm underneath the armpit of the opposite arm, and look in the same direction as that threaded arm. The other arm is straight out by overhead. It's an overhead arm by your ear. And just stay here and breathe. And whenever you're ready, come up to a chair-seated position. What we're going to do first is a figure 4 plus a hip hinge, and then overhead arms. we've already done all of the wrist stretches that are done. So now I'm doing this because I think this is a great move to help with posture, release the lower back, and create a strong upper back. So from a seated position, let's go over, whenever you come into a figure four, bring your knee up towards your chest first and then cross your ankle. If you cross your ankle while your foot is starting on the bottom, you've contorted your hip. So this is a clean way to approach figure four in a really nice hip rotation on the right. Now from here, Kathy's going to just move forward as if her spine is a broomstick. So, and she's moving at the hip hinge. Hip hinge forward. This could be little for you, or it could be bigger. What I want to see is that you don't round your upper back. So or your lower back. Don't round any part of your back. Your chest stays open. Your head is in line with your spine. Drop your chin a little bit. Open your chest, and then you should look straight as a broomstick. Nice. And you use your hands to help you do that, either as structure or as force. Now arms overhead, or one arm. Let's do one arm overhead at a time, Kat. One arm overhead. This is going to also help you with your spine, straight spine. So forward, this is a figure four and a flat back hip hinge with overhead arm on the right. Bring that arm down and bring the other arm up. Try to think long, like a broomstick. And come back. So Parvin's come late. Hi, Parvin.
Hi.
Nice to have
I'm sorry. I'm still sitting in the car. I'm waiting for the. I just want to listen to you. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. And watch. Thank you.
You might be able to do this in your car because
this
is a seated position, forward folding. So
yes.
So
okay.
Go ahead, and so Kathy, we just switched sides, crossing over figure four, and then hip hinge, chest is open, chest stays open, and then the left arm comes up, and then bring it down, and then the right arm. And then come back. And then come all the way back. And the next thing we're going to do is hand and toe shakes and ankle circles. So starting on the right, bring your knee, come into a figure four, and use either hand, either of your fingers, either hand, either fingers, to thread the fingers of one hand or the other, whichever is easiest for you to get to, through the feet, the toes, and get them as close to as far down as possible. And once you do that, you can make a circle or wiggle. Wiggle back and forth. So choose whatever feels right for you, or do both. But once you've grabbed your foot with your hands, then wiggle and stretch. And you can forward and back, so dorsiflex and plantar flex. You have all sorts of ways that you can appreciate your foot and your ankles here. And then reverse to the other, go to the other side. And thread the fingers between the toes on that side. And then circle here. So the nice thing about this is you have a figure 4, which is a hip opener. So you get that stretch, plus you get all the footwork. This is a great thing to do, and it's pretty easy, pretty accessible. And the next thing we're going to do is a seated short foot. So you can do these if Parvin is waiting in her car, she could do these in her car with, don't put your feet on the brake. Don't put your feet on the gas pedal or the brake, but you could do this in your car with your shoes on. It's not quite as good with your shoes on, but I have done it with my shoes on, and your feet are straight forward or almost straight forward. And all you're going to do is start with the right foot and lift the toes and spread them as best you can, and then drop them and press the toe pads into the floor. And wait, pause. And you might be aware of the activation of the muscle that runs along the arch from front to back or back to front of the foot, plantar arch. Go to the left side, so we're going to do alternating. Lift the toes, all of the toes, and spread them. And then drop them and press the toe pads into the floor. And pause, stay there, breathe, and then switch to the other side. The nice thing about this movement is you can do it anywhere, and it actually changes the way you walk. And it creates some ankle strength as well. And do a couple more sets. You can try doing this with both feet at the same time also. So it's more efficient, obviously, but there's less awareness. which is what I described before, because you're not quite as aware of the right versus the left. Finish up and then find your way onto your stomach for our predictable prone practice. 3 P's. Well, it's somewhat predictable. Lying on your belly, on your mat. And any prone practice, if you have, if the pressure on your pubic bone is uncomfortable, you can put a couple of washcloths there and help. That would help. Bring your arms beside your hips, palms up. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to come up. Arms, chest, head. Take an inhale here. You may want to lift up a little higher if it's available to you. And then inhale to prepare to return. And exhale to return to the floor. That's level 1. You can stay there or you can keep going to level 2. Inhale to prepare and exhale to lift. Stay here for a breath and lifting a little higher if you can. Inhale to prepare to level 2, and then exhale, the arms come out into airplane. And inhale, stay here, lift your upper back a little bit if you can. And then inhale to come up, prepare to come down, and exhale to come down. I missed an exhale in there. I hope you got your exhale. All right. Now we're adding on. Inhale to prepare, exhale to come up. Inhale, stay here, or lift a little higher. And exhale, and arms come out to the side. No airplane. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, lift a little higher. And then inhale to return. Prepare to return, and then exhale to return. This can be a very small movement for some people. It will get bigger, especially if I keep doing it or we keep doing it. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, the up, level 1. Inhale. Exhale, arms come out. Airplane. Inhale. Exhale, arms overhead by the ears, overhead arms. Stay here and breathe and lift. And now inhale and exhale, come back to airplane. And inhale again, and then exhale, return to the floor. Very nice. Let's do the alternating leg and arms Superwoman, which my chiropractor thinks is a great movement, maybe the best movement of all time. I'm not sure. He was quite enthusiastic about it. I thought, I'll try it out. So bring your arms overhead by your ears. And you're alternating, lifting one arm. You may, Kathy, you may want to try, I guess, one arm may be down by your side. And then the other arm is up and alternating leg. Lift one leg and one arm. Opposite arm. Come back. And then other arm. And other leg. Now, if you want to, Kathy, you could bend your left arm. Bend the arm that's the side and see if that is better. Now, switch sides. So find the core here to keep you going, keep you stable and keep you going. Switch sides. Switch sides. Long, think long, long leg, long arm. Switch sides. And then finish up on the other side. And come on back. And bring your arms out to a T for thoracic spine twist. Looking to the right, raise your right leg and come up, bring it across the opposite leg. So the main idea is to do this leg movement and keep your arms and shoulders and armpits on the floor. And then come back and breathe. Keep breathing and switch to the other side. Remember, if this is hard for you, impossible for you, just stay on the floor and glutes. Move your glutes. Squeeze your glutes. And that should eventually give you enough strength in your glutes and thighs to do this movement, this leg movement. See how nice and long Kathy's back looks? It didn't used to look like that, actually. It was rounded. I think this movement is, and now some of the other stuff, the back extension we do. Really, anything postural is going to help with the upper back. Do one more set, right and left. The hips can lift. Everything can lift. Everything except the shoulders can lift. The hips can and do lift, actually. Some people like to bend their knee, actually, also. I think that's way enough of that for today. And time to end the class with a 61-point guided meditation. So just find your way onto your back, supine. Maybe you'll want to have a few washcloths under your head. Maybe you'll want to have a washcloth over your eyes. That actually helps you relax, your eyes relax and sink back into the sockets. Your legs can be bent or extended. They could be up on a chair, which would be nice for the psoas. We're going to start with paying attention to the breath, 61 points. We'll move your attention through 61 points on the body, starting with breath, breathing in and out. And observing your abdomen as it rises and falls with the gentle flow of your breath. Now bring your awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, left elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, left knee, left ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This concludes the 61-point guided meditation. Go ahead and extend your legs and start to stretch. Bring your arms overhead. And wiggle and stretch and wiggle your fingers and your toes and circle your ankles and your feet and your wrists. Hug your right knee to your chest and then your left. And then both knees. Rock from side to side, release the lower back. And roll all the way to the side into a fetal position using your bottom arm as a pillow. And then after a breath or two, bringing yourself up to seated, your favorite seated position. Go ahead and unmute yourself. And I'm going to cancel the spotlight. And I'm going to put myself on gallery view so I can see all of your pictures. I cannot do that for you, but you might like to do that too. Go ahead and press your palms together in prayer pose at your chest. Press, press, press. And then release a little bit, but stay here. And lift your occipital ridge up and nod it forward over your cervical spine, the top cervical vertebra, C1. Just nodding and bowing to each other, honoring each other, respecting each other, acknowledging the light that exists in all of us, and that we are actually, in fact, the one light. And we'll close the class by saying to each other, Namaste.
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 Thank you, everyone. That was a fabulous class, in my humble opinion.